Hello, dear students, and welcome to the second chapter of geography, that is Land, Soil, and Water Resources, Part 3. Students, today we are going to discuss about the water resources. In the previous two parts, we discussed about the land resource and soil resources. So, today we are going to discuss about water resources. Students, all of us are knowing that how water is important for us. The planet Earth is known as a unique planet just because living conditions are available here. Among all those living conditions, water is the most vital, important source that helps in sustaining the human life or the organism's life on the surface of the earth. So, in this part, we are going to learn about the water resources only. Let's start. The first, we will have a look on the content, what we are going to study. Water as a natural resource, freshwater distribution, uses of water, hydroelectricity, scarcity of water, water conservation, rainwater harvesting. So, these are the and water effects. So, this is the content. Now let's have a look on the first topic, that is water as a natural resource. Water resources. So students, water is a vital renewable natural resource. First of all, water is a natural resource and it is renewable. We will see that how water is a renewable resource. Our Earth planet is known as a blue planet. Why our Earth is known as a blue planet? Because the three-fourth Earth surface is covered with water bodies. Our Earth is the only planet in the solar system that is having water in liquid form or in the form that is useful for the consumption of the organisms or the human being that survive on the Earth's surface. We have learned about the realms of Earth also. In that also, hydrosphere plays an important role. Hydrosphere means the water bodies that are available on the Earth's surface in any form. Water is available on the surface of earth, that is the form of hydrosphere. So why water is an important natural resource? Because water is basic to life. Everyone, whether we as humans, animals, insects, or plants, everything that is surviving on the surface of the earth needs water. So it is the basic utility or basic need of everyone's life. It is one of the most important renewable natural resource. About water, so students, the pure water is colorless, odorless and tasteless. Water has no taste, it has no color and no smell, that is odor. Now, it is only water is only the thing that is available in different forms on the surface of the earth. So water is available in three different forms. All of you are already knowing about it. Water is the most familiar thing to you: liquid, gaseous, and solid. So, water is present in liquid state, in gaseous state, and in solid state also. In liquid state, water is present in rivers, oceans, lakes, ponds, surface water, groundwater. All these are the sources of liquid water. Gaseous state, so students, the composition of our atmosphere. The atmosphere consists of water vapor also in the form, that is the gaseous form of the water. The presence of water in the gaseous form is water vapor. Solid, water is also present in solid form as frozen ice. Water is, all of us are knowing that some percentage of water on the surface of the earth exists in frozen form. It is freezed. That is the Antarctica, the Greenland. All these are the areas where the water is available in the frozen form. So it is only the object that water available in different forms, that is water available in three different forms, that is liquid, gaseous and solid. Now, the surface of the earth is covered through three-fourth part of the earth is covered with water. 3/4 means approximately 71% of the surface of the earth is covered with water. So that is the reason water is considered as an important natural resource. Students, in history we have learned about that earlier ancient civilization, whether it is Harappan civilization, whether it is Egyptian civilization, whether it is Chinese civilization, we learn about this thing that all the civilizations were found near the bank of river, like Harappan civilization at the bank of Indus river, Chinese civilization at the bank of Wangho river. So all these are the civilizations that started existing near the river banks. So by this only we can understand that how much water is available for the survival of human being on the surface of the earth. Now, nextly we will see freshwater distribution. So students, there is no doubt that 71% of the earth's surface is covered with water, but whole water is not fit for the consumption. All of us are knowing that, or you have learned earlier also, that approximately 1 to 2% of water is only considered as fresh water. Fresh water means the water that is suitable for the consumption of human being. So only 1 to 2% water is safe for us, pure, we can say pure, or it is fit for the consumption of humans. So 97% of the water is saline. Saline means 97% of the water out of 3 by 4th total water on the surface of the earth, it is in the oceans. Ocean water is saline. All of you are knowing that ocean water is in saline form. Some amount of water is frozen as ice sheets and mountain glaciers. So since water is available in the frozen form also, so some amount of water is freezed. Sources of fresh water. Now very little fresh water is available on the surface of earth, and the sources of fresh water is basically lakes, streams, river, ponds, and all of us are knowing that rainfall is the most important source of fresh water. Rainfall also provides us fresh water. So the ocean water is saline and not fit for human consumption. Fresh water accounts for only about 1 to 2%. 70% of this occurs as ice sheet and glaciers in Antarctica, Greenland, and mountain regions. So basically, only 1% water is available and fit for human use. Fresh water is present in groundwater as well as surface water. Fresh water, we can find fresh water on ground also, in ground also, and at the surface of the earth also. It is available in rivers, lakes, aquifers. We have learned about aquifers also. We are going to see it now. Fresh water is the most precious substance on the earth. Now, why the distribution of water varies from one place to another place? Some places are having more water, some places are having less water. It is because of the climatic conditions that is changing. The climatic condition of a particular place, like the place where the temperature is very high or the place where the temperature is high, that place will, where their evaporation will take more and precipitation will be more. If evaporation will be more, then precipitation will also be more. Ultimately the amount of water at that place will be high. Now next, rainfall. Rainfall and climatic conditions. It is obvious that rainfall is the place that receives maximum rainfall, yeah, rainfall, good rainfall, at that places the availability of water will be more. Now let's have a look on sources of fresh water. So basically fresh water, we, from where we get the fresh water? We get the fresh water from surface water. Surface water, that is river, lake, all these are the sources of fresh water. It is another thing that we people are violating, or we people are polluting these sources of water on the surface of the earth. Now, next we can see groundwater. All of you are knowing that the meaning of the groundwater is the water that is present under the surface of the earth, between the pores of the rocks or soil. The water that we get from the motor pumps or from the hand pumps, that is the surface water. Surface water is also available between the rocks, that is known as aquifers, below the water table. Now fresh water, the another source of fresh water is the glaciers and the icebergs also, from where we get the fresh water. So this is all about the sources of water and the distribution of water on the surface of the earth. So lakes, ponds, rivers and streams are the sources of fresh water. This now the water this water is salt free. The fresh water is salt free, or very less amount of salt is present in this water, and account for less than half percent of the world's water supply. Water is not evenly distributed, and neither it can be added or subtracted. As all of you are knowing that water remains in constant motion. Water cannot be added nor be subtracted from the surface of the earth. All of us are knowing that water follows a cycle. We are already familiar about the water cycle. Water follows a cycle, that is water cycle, the process of evaporation, condensation, precipitation, transpiration. All these form the process of water cycle. The surface water evaporate with the process of evaporation, and it condense, and again that water precipitates in the fall of form of rainfall and reaches to the surface of the earth. So that is only water cannot be added or subtracted on the surface of the earth. It is in constant motion. Water ultimately, that is why it is a renewable resource, because water naturally replenish itself. Water naturally replenish itself, but since humans are polluting water, that is why there is shortage of fresh water, or there is shortage of pure water that we can consume. Now let's have a look on the next topic what we are going to study, uses of water. So students, all of us are familiar with the uses of water also, how we people use water. So water is basically used in household, for personal uses and for recreational activities also. Now how water is used as household help and as personal uses, the water is used for washing clothes, for watering the plants, for giving water to animals, for cooking food, for washing your clothes, for bathing, for drinking, for washing, for brushing. For all these things, water is used, or we use water. One day, if for one day also, that means we cannot imagine our life without water for one day also. So, this is only how much water is necessary for our survival. Recreational activities, that means for the activities that makes us fresh, or the playing games with water, like all those things, like beaches, going to pools, fishing, water games, water parks. It is all about the uses of water, that we use it in personal means. Now water is also used for agricultural purposes. So students, nearly 70% of water is used in agriculture for growing crops, or the water is used by our farmers for cultivating crops. 70% of the water is used for the purpose of irrigation in agriculture. So this 70% of water, the consumption of this 70% water is very much. The main issue is that the farmers are withdrawing water at a faster rate than it is being replenished. Farmers are using water at a very fast rate, and the rate of the process of the replenishment of water, natural replenishment, is very slow. So it is estimated that 3 cubic meters of water is required to produce 1 kg of rice. So agriculture is also responsible for the depletion of most of the fresh water. So we have to be careful for the consumption of water for the agricultural purposes. Now, this water is also used in industries. It is estimated that 22% of the total water available on the surface of the earth is used in industries. But the usage of water in industry is not same at every place. The countries that are more developed, or the countries that are having more industrial areas, there the usage of water is more. Like if we will take, the use of water by industries varies with the level of development. Like the countries like USA, Canada, Russia, they display higher use of water for industry than for agriculture. These are the countries where water is used for industries more in comparison to agriculture. And the country like India, here the water is basically or mostly used for the purpose of agriculture. So the total average water usage is about 22% for industries. Now, this is how water is used in industries for cleaning and for many things. Water can be used for production, water can be used in industries. Now, by the consumption of water in the industries, also, these industries are also polluting our water resources by dumping their chemical effluents, by dumping their chemical residue without treating them into the water bodies. We have learned earlier also that these industrial waste or these toxic chemical waste are also polluting our land and soil resources. Like that only, these industries, the waste is dumped or directly, we can say that, throughout into the water bodies, so that the water bodies are also getting polluted. These chemicals get mixed into these water bodies, into the water, and somehow these water are used by us. We are consuming the polluting water, we are consuming the water with chemical toxic chemicals, and due to that only we suffered from waterborne diseases. So all of this is like a circular process, that we are only polluting the water and that water is only polluting us back, that due to that polluting water only we people are suffering. So this is only the uses of water. Now, water is also used for the river valley project. Now students, what are river valley project? The rivers, when, or we can say that during the season of rainfall, when the rate of rainfall is very high, at that time the rivers overflow with water, the river bank overflows. For saving, or we can say that flood occurs. For saving the people from the flood, the concept of building dams came into existence. The concept of building dam, as you can see in the picture, how dam is being constructed on river bodies to lower the speed of the, to means they act as a barrier for the water. So basically, this is only river valley projects. Earlier, these projects were only made to prevent flood, but slowly, the speed of the water is also used for the production of electricity, and we can also say that this water is being utilized for the purpose of irrigation also. So it is only known as River Valley Project. River Valley Project, or it is also known as Multi-Purpose River Project, because one project is only helping in multiple works, like for development of agriculture also, for the purpose of irrigation, for preventing from flood also, and for producing electricity also. So that is why this is also known as a multi-purpose river project. So large scale river valley projects that provide water for irrigation also generate hydroelectricity. We are going to learn about hydroelectricity also, and control flood water. That is only known as river valley projects. What are river valley projects? The large scale projects that provide water for irrigation, also generate hydroelectricity and control flood water by building dam on the river bodies. That is only known as river valley projects. So, students, hydroelectricity is used across the world and it accounts for about 19% of the total electricity production. Hydroelectricity means the electricity that is produced with the help of water. Hydroelectricity is the electricity that is produced with the help of water. Water is being reserved in the reservoirs, and from there only you can see the picture here, that how water is going through the reservoirs, how water is going from the reservoirs and it is coming here in control gate, and here it is helping in moving the turbine, and from this turbine only the power is generated, energy is generated, and his this generator is converting the energy in electricity, yeah, electrical energy, this mechanical energy into electrical energy. So like that only hydroelectricity is produced, the electricity that is produced by water. So 19% of the total electricity is produced with the help of these river valley projects only. These projects construct large dams across rivers. So there are approximately 45,000 dams in the world. And for your information, Canada is the largest producer of hydroelectricity. The country Canada is the largest producer of the hydroelectricity. So basically, hydroelectricity provides cheap power. Power is also cheap. It also helps to reduce greenhouse gases because it is a natural process. Matlab, it do not it is very cheap. It do not need much consumption of money. However, but all these projects are also negatively impacting our environment. These river valley projects are also negatively impacting our environment because these large dams have led to loss of forest, wildlife, and biodiversity. For constructing these large dams, I am telling you about the one dam that is Hirakud Dam that is built on river Mahanadi in Odisha, that is the longest dam in the world. The length of the dam is approximately 27 kilometer. So for constructing such a long dam, first of all, the forest or the whatever natural, we can say that physical features were available there, that has to be destroyed. So for constructing all these dams, the construction of all these dams led to loss of forest, wildlife, and many biodiversities. So hundreds of people have been displaced. People have to move from these places. Soil have been degraded by continuous irrigation and salinization. So India has approximately or more than 4,000 dams. Among those dams, Hirakud Dam that is built on river Mahanadi in Odisha is the longest dam in the world. So these are part of multi-purpose projects. I am giving you some more example. The Bhakra Nangal Dam in Punjab, the Damodar Valley Dam in Bihar, West Bengal, the Tungabhadra project in Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, the Rihan project of Uttar Pradesh. All of these are multi-purpose projects. Yeah, multi-purpose river valley project of India. The dams have helped to increase agricultural production greatly in India, but they have not been cost effective. So, thousands of acres of land have been submerged while building these dams that have displaced humans and wildlife. Since these dams are very useful for the irrigation and for the development of the agriculture in India, but these dams have taken lots of space, lots of area. So, for that only, they have covered lots of area, and for building these dams, many human settlements or many wildlife or forest have been cut down. Human settlements have been replaced from these places. So this is basically about the river valley projects. About hydroelectricity also, we have learned that hydroelectricity is electricity made by generators that are pushed by the movement of water. It is usually made with dams that block a river to make a reservoir or collect water that is pumped there. When the water is released, the pressure behind the dam forces the water down pipes that led to a turbine. And then turbine change generators are there. That generator changes the mechanical energy into the electrical energy, and from there only the electricity produced and the power is transferred to various areas. So this is all about hydroelectricity. Now we are going to learn about the scarcity of water. So, scarcity of water, what do you mean by this? Scarcity of water means two things. The quality of water is also reducing, and the quantity, here it is quantity. The first one will be quantity. The quantity of water is also reducing, and the quality of water is also reducing. Water scarcity means lack of water to meet the demand, that is quantity, or to lack of access to safe water. There are some places that are not having water only, so they are lacking in quantity. There are some places they are having water, but that water is not fit for the consumption, so they are lacking in quality. So it is all about So there is enough fresh water to meet the needs of 6 billion people, but it is not distributed evenly. All of us are knowing that, like all other natural resources, water is also not distributed evenly. All places are not having same amount of water. One out of every 3 people in the world do not have access to water to meet his or her daily needs. So many people are there, those who are not having water, so for fulfilling their basic needs also. The quality of water and the way water is used and conserved determine the amount of water that is usable. How much amount of water we are consuming, how we are using the water, that plays an important role in the scarcity of water. If we will use the water smartly, properly, then the scarcity of water will not take place. So water will be available and the speed of replenishment will be also equal. So water scarcity is both natural process also, and it causes due to human activities also. So the natural causes of the water scarcity is global warming, since the temperature of the earth is increasing day by day due to the increase in carbon dioxide. So due to that only the freezing ice is started melting, that is also causing the scarcity of water, lack of rain. The places that do not receive rainfall, that also face a scarcity of water, like Rajasthan. Flood are also the reasons for the scarcity of water. So all these plays an important role in the scarcity of water. Like that only, human causes are also there, like population. With the speed the population increasing, it is not able to take pace with the utilization of water. The water is limited on the surface of the earth, and the population is increasing continuously. So that is why the scarcity of water is industrial work also, they are polluting water. Due to pollution also, water is being polluted. So all these things are the scarcity of water is in many region of the world, basically in Africa, West Asia, South Asia, some parts of USA, Northwest Mexico, South Africa, America, Australia. All these are the places, some parts of India also, like Gujarat, Rajasthan. All these places are facing shortage of fresh water supply. What are the reasons of the scarcity of water? What are the reasons for the scarcity of water? Increasing population, rising demands for food and cash crops, increasing urbanization, and rising standard of people living are the major causes of the scarcity of water. Now, let's have a look on conservation. All of us are knowing that what is conservation. In previous two parts we have learned about conservation. What is conservation? To protect or to prevent the wasteful usage of water, that is only known as conservation. Now why we have to conserve water? So students, fresh water scarcity may be a big crisis in future unless steps are taken to manage water properly. We have to manage the usage of water, otherwise one day it will come that we have to struggle for one drop of water also. So access of clean and adequate water is major problem facing the world today. It is a major problem that the world is facing, because many of people are not able to get clean and adequate water also. Steps have to be taken to conserve this dwindling resource. This dwindling means this resource that is struggling, that we have to conserve this resource. Even though water is a renewable resources, we have learned this, that water is a natural renewable resource, then what is the need of conserving it? Because it is the renewable resource. Whether it is, though it is a renewable resource, its overuse and pollution make it unfit for use. Its overuse and pollution is making it unfit for the consumption of people, like discharge of untreated or partially treated sewage, agricultural chemicals, and industrial effluents in water bodies are major contaminants that is polluting the water. The polluted water with nitrates, metals, and pesticides. In agricultural fields, fertilizers and pesticides, insecticides used, that also pollute water. Like in industries, the toxic chemical effluents is totally dumping into the water bodies, that is also polluting the water. So water pollution can be controlled by treating all these effluents or all these chemicals suitably before releasing them into the water bodies. So all these, that is why it is very important for us to conserve the water as resource. So what we can do for consume for the conservation of water, we can, water can be reused or recycled. Okay, the protection of wetlands, we have to protect where the water bodies, river cleaning to improve quality of water. We are only polluting the rivers, we have to be careful that we should not pollute rivers. So and cleaning of rivers should take place. Afforestation to reduce runoff, we have to grow trees so that the water runoff like soil erosion was also prevented by the process of growing trees. Like that only afforestation can also help in the runoff of water also. Rainwater harvesting, I will explain you what is rainwater harvesting. Encouraging better irrigation practices, we can adopt new modern irrigation practices so that we can control or we can conserve water resources. Addressing causes of pollution, we have to check that how the water is being polluted and we have to stop the pollution of water. So here some methods are given that what you can do to conserve water, like fixing household leaks right away, save up to 20 gallons of a day. You have to check, be careful that no tap of your house should be leaking. Washing only full loads of dishes and laundry saves up to 50 gallons per week. So this is the way that how we can save water. Some ways I have provided you. Use sprinkle method for for irrigation. Okay, so like all these are the methods that how can we save water. What is rainwater harvesting? So students, rainwater harvesting is the most important and most popular method to preserve and to conserve water. Now, how it works? Rainwater harvesting is the process or a simple method of collecting the rainwater, as name it is rainwater. So it is a method of collecting the rainwater by for future uses. The collected rainwater may be stored, utilized in different ways, or directly used for recharge purposes. So rainwater harvesting is basically when the rainwater is collected on the roofs of buildings. You can see in the picture that how rainwater is being collected and then stored underground for later use, and then that water is being stored for later usage. Raises the down, how it helps, this helps in recharging depleted groundwater, raises the declining water table, and adds to the existing water supply. So it helps in the recharging of the groundwater, the table will increase. In rural areas, rainwater harvesting helps in controlling the flood water flowing into the river, which then drying up water the rain stops. So basically we can say that the areas that receives high amount of rainfall, at those places this rainwater harvesting is being practiced very much. The places like Kerala, Goa, at I have seen at these places like rainwater harvesting is being practiced at in every house. The people of every house used to store water by the process of rainwater harvesting. So next week we will see some methods of irrigation. About drip irrigation I have explained you. You can see that how pipes are being connected and it is put into the soil so that the water slowly the water will seep to each and every plant. Sprinkle irrigation is also like that only, not to pour so much water into the fields. Sprinkle the water slowly so that it can also avoid soil erosion and it can also help to conserve water resources. Now this chapter is over. The chapter 2 of geography is completed now. I am providing you some understanding based questions. You can do it by your own. Students, as you all are familiar that we make one additional copy of social studies that you have to make, and you have to do all these understanding based questions in your that additional copy. One more thing I want to inform you, that all of you are asking about the question answers. Question answers are being uploaded on the school website, that is dpsmonapur.gkp.edu.in. Please go and check the question answers from there and write it down in your fair copy. We all have provided up to 3 chapters question answers to you. So don't get worried. Question answers we are providing you through school website. Please go and check in the PDF form. I hope that all of you are spending your time in studies, watching the videos and making notes for your personal study. Students, stay home and stay safe, and please invest your time in studying. Thank you everyone.